All right, here you see me mixing up a color remover. I bought this color remover from Sally's. I honestly felt a little bit scammed though because it felt and smelled exactly like bleach. That's why you see me reading the directions and everything. But I'm shaking it up and I'm just gonna start adding it onto my head. It's very simple, the same way that I would add, well, no, not really the same way I would add a bleach, but it's pretty much the same concept. But honestly, I did feel like I spent my money and didn't need to because it was just like bleach to me. But yeah, you see me adding it in. I'm just taking it, squirting it with the squirt bottle, and rubbing it deep into my scalp. Now, the point of this is to take the green out of my head so that when I bleach it, it'll just all bleach evenly and I won't have any like patchy spots. All right, so now that the color remover has snatched all that green out of our head and kind of left us with a light brown type of a canvas to work with, we're gonna take some of this 30 volume developer. I had to buy the big bottle instead of the little ones that I usually get because they ran out of the small ones, but oh well. We're taking this Blonde Brilliance bleach packet. This is my favorite brand of bleach. I love Blonde Brilliance, like it's my favorite. It doesn't have that permy feeling that like a BW2 does. You know that burning and itching and burning like peaches? Like, I hate the way that it feels. Like, I still use BW2 from time to time, but that's like my last resort type of a bleach. It's not a bleach that I would use if I had Blonde Brilliance available, but you know, it's more expensive, but you get what you pay for. So here we're just mixing the bleach and the developer, pretty simple. Some people take it to like a toothpaste type of a consistency, like that thick. I'm not really into the thick. I like to keep it thick, but I like to have it to, I hate to say like a mucus, but more like a mucus so that it's easier to work with, but it still doesn't drip down. So you don't want to add too much developer. But that's why I buy cream developers because it keeps it all kind of in place. Now I'm just using my handheld mirror and I'm taking it all the way around. I started the back of my head because I feel like that's where the bleach starts to heat up first, at least on my head. I might just have a hot ass neck, but I put it at the back of my head first and I work my way up. And I make sure I coat everything because I cannot tell you how many times I put bleach on my head and once I wash it out, I'm like, oh, I missed that tiny little piece. And even though it's not that big of a piece, it still makes a big difference because you see it, like the dye is not gonna attach. So I'm just coating my whole head with the bleach, very simple. So at the middle part of the bleaching, I like to just work it in with my fingers, of course with gloves on, but I like to work it all the way down to the root just to make sure I haven't missed any spots and that every piece of hair gets thoroughly saturated with the bleach. And here we are, we're blonde. It's a corn blonde, but it's fine. I got my glass bowls here. I just found any glass bowls. And I got this Ion Brights dye. It's a yellow. It's really the only cheap yellow that I could find that wasn't gonna break my bank. But I don't know. The Ion dye, to me, it didn't last as long as the other dye that I used, which was Arctic Fox. The ion ran out really easily. And I don't know if it's because it's like a lighter color, it's a yellow, and maybe the yellow just didn't last the way it was supposed to. But I don't know. It just, you see how vibrant it is? It didn't really have as good of a color payoff as this one here. So this is my Arctic Fox. I love Arctic Fox. I've interacted with the brand frequently, and I just love it. Like, the dye doesn't run, which I am so in love with, because brands like Adore have that runny, like, I don't know if they've updated their recipe, their ingredients, but they run. Arctic Fox does not run. Arctic Fox, you put the dye in your head, and by some work of magic, that shit just does not run. You run the water and it turns clear, and there's like a foam, like a soap kind of a foam, like suds. It does not run at all. So here I'm just mixing my colors up in the bowl and applying it right to the hairline. And I mean, this is all pretty straightforward. Like, I'm applying it, I'm making sure I work backwards with my brush just to ensure that I'm getting, again, every piece of hair saturated. I'm just working backwards to ensure that every piece of hair is coated with the dye. Now we're about to go in with the yellow. I left just about a thumb's thickness width of space, enough to create that gradient effect between the pink and the yellow. I knew it was going to create an orange, so I just wanted to create that enough space for those two colors to blend into each other pretty seamlessly. I'm just taking my mirror, my handy dandy mirror, and going in with that yellow. And I was kind of scared because the yellow, it's a cream dye. It had like a translucency to it almost. It looks pretty bright on camera, but when I was doing it in person, it kind of concerned me because it just kind of, I don't know, it fell flat to me. But as most people that dye their hair know, you can't really trust the immediate, like what it looks like when you put the dye on at first. You can't really trust that. You never know what it's going to end up being unless you're really, really, really familiar with the products. So now I'm just blending it in with a brush that I've washed off that has no dye on it. And I'm just going in. I'm going in. I am taking either the yellow side or the pink side and just blurring those lines into the other end. It's very simple. You just got to be very careful, because if you take one color too far on the other end, like, how do I explain this? If you drag, like, say you were doing the yellow end and you were trying to blur that line. If you drag that too far into the pink, you could like mess up the line of, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be a line of demarcation. Everybody's going to be able to see it. So I'm just taking like my handheld mirror, like you're gonna see me use it, just to catch it at the side angle. And I'm angling that mirror so I can see from the side what it looks like. And yeah. So I know you can't see the bowls off camera, but I have the bowls set up with a little bit of extra dye of each color. And you'll see me periodically just dip into one or the other. Like if I see that I need more pink in one section, I'll dip into some pink. Or if I see I need some more yellow, like it's the same concept. Sometimes even I mix the two to get that orange, just so that I'll have another like almost if you were doing your eyeshadow, like the transition shade, like the orange is the transition shade. So I created the orange separately, just a little bit, and added that in just so it could be a lot more seamless when it came to the gradient. Sweetie, let me just mention, like, this look alone cost me $37 to gather up all the products that I needed because the only type of beauty supply store that we have down here is Sally Beauty. Sally Beauty, sweetie, I need the sponsorship, sis. I can't do it anymore. My pockets, they're screaming. They're crying. They can't take it. Pass me that sponsorship. I don't even really need to be, I don't need to be posted nowhere. Send me a box of dye. Send me a box of bleach. I need it in my life. I'm tired of going into Sally Beauty and spending my life savings on hair dye. I can't take it anymore. My pockets can't take it anymore. Because I know damn well, if this was Jersey, I wouldn't have spent no $37 on all the products that I got. I would have had to use BW too. But that's a sacrifice I would have made, sweetie. That's a sacrifice that I would have gladly made. I mean, in Jersey, Sally who? Yeah, now I'm going in with my fingers just to, again, like ease up that transition. Because I saw a few blunt lines going on. I wasn't really feeling it. So I went in with my fingers and started to, create a more finessed transition. Now we're in the kitchen, sweetie. Now we're in the kitchen. It's time to rinse it out. Very simple. I'll need to explain how I rinsed it out, but we're rinsing it out. This is like my favorite part of dyeing my hair because you never know. Like, I run to the mirror just to see what it looks like. Like, dyeing my hair excites me. And notice how the only color that you see that's rinsing out, that you can physically see coming off of the water, is the yellow. That pink nor the orange came out, girl. That pink stayed in. I was shook. And ew, bitch, do you see the waves? Do you see the color? Ooh, oh, that's a little oversaturated, but yes, ma'am.